All right, I'm just going to go over my top 5 pulling exercises. So just like I didn't consider a back squat to be a variation of the squat, I just considered it the default exercise. I'm going to do the same thing with the conventional deadlift. The conventional deadlift is probably most gym goers' primary ground-based pulling exercise, and it is for me, so that's just variation 0. So my top 5 ground-based pulling exercises just follows the same criteria as the squat does. I like exercises that train a large amount of muscle mass, are conducive to heavy loading, and train through the greatest effective range of motion. I don't want one of those factors to be significantly compromised by emphasizing one of them over the other too much. Variation number 1 is the RDL. Part of me didn't want to include RDLs because it's technically not a ground-based exercise, but that's also why I'm choosing it for number 1 at the same time. RDLs, more than any other ground-based pulling, involves a more intentful and controlled eccentric portion of the lift, whereas conventional deadlifts are typically done with a loose descent. When doing a conventional dead, you could control it all the way down to the ground, but that would significantly limit the loads that you use. And I like how heavy you can go on RDLs, and I think it can be fairly common for people to underload them. I'm not sure why this is, but with many of the athletes I work with, don't realize how much weight they can handle until you tell them to keep adding weight. And then they're always surprised by how much they can load it up. My number 2 variation is the snatch grip dead. I like these because I like to do quite a bit of Olympic lifting. It's just another way to overload the snatch grip pull. The wider grip places a greater demand on the back to maintain extension even with lighter loads. And this variation makes the deadlift a little more squatty and a little less hingy. My variation number 3 is the deficit deadlift. You can use deficit deads as a way to greater challenge the extension of the back. And you can also use these as a way to deadlift with more flexion of the back. You can do it both ways according to your own preferences. As far as some sort of benefits that they offer, I'm not sure I have a really good answer to rationalize. And my number 4 variation is the stiff leg deadlift. I mostly just think of these as an RDL variation, less quad involvement compared to a conventional deadlift and a snatch grip deadlift. But basically, I just like to think of these as an elongated RDL and as an RDL done from a dead stop off the floor. My number 5 variation is the pause deadlift. I don't have much to say here about these. It's a good challenge to pause and have to re-accelerate midway through the movement. And you can pause at various parts of the lift. I typically like to pause at mid-shin or just an inch or two off the ground. Yeah, so those are my top 5 ground-based pulling exercises. These are the exercises that you'll see most often in my programs, Haas Olympic, and Haas Concurrent. That's all I have for this video. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.